Hey, Dan Meyer here, and today we're going to talk about a topic that I think a lot of us can get confused by. And it's, should you do a webinar, a meeting, or a live stream? So I'm going to break down these in a technical sense, how they're different, and then in a practical sense, how you can use them to reach a different type of audience and have a different type of experience. You hear them interchanged a lot in a sense, especially if something is live, why it's a webinar, or it's a live meeting. Like most of us are having a lot of Zoom meetings, or we're attending webinars or seminars or workshops or conferences, and they're streaming online, so it's real time. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's always the same thing. And it can get kind of confusing, so you want to really think about what you're trying to achieve. What is your big goal when you go live? When you decide to do something where you're going to provide content to an audience and you want it to be in live format, what should you keep in mind? And who should you try to get to watch that? Who should you try to bring into your new normal? Because we've all created our own new normals, right? We all do most of our business, most of our interactions, most of our communication. It's online. And it's causing content creators, people that are authors, that are speakers, that are even bloggers or YouTube personalities, people that are making a lot of content, to really rethink how they provide the content, not just the best way to send it out, but for people to consume. There's always something that I keep in mind when I think about how do I want my audience to consume what I do, like this video you're watching right now. I could live stream it, but I don't. I started doing that when the pandemic first started. There were so many other things that were live streaming. It was actually a lot of work for me to adjust my schedule to be able to have to be somewhere at 2 o'clock every Tuesday to live stream a talk. I found that it's easier to pre-record it and then drop it every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And the video views don't get a whole lot of difference. There are some people that will comment on your live stream, will like it, will say, good job, keep going. But very few people stop what they're doing in the middle of their busy day to start watching your live stream. And we've seen that when people do conferences and they do workshops and seminars and webinars, most people that are on the stream are not necessarily interacting with it. They're kind of got it in the background. They're doing 5 other things. They're not all engaged. So it's really hard to find a way to optimize your ability to get your message to your audience on your timetable when you want to go live or when you want to schedule a webinar. And even if you do research on trying to figure out what you should do for your clients, it can be challenging. You want to think more so about what your clients want. And I think in this day and age, we live in the Netflix of consumption when it comes to online content. People will join your live stream. They will watch it. People will follow you and join your webinars and do things that you set a certain time to do. But most people, more people that are going to get value out of what you do, are going to do it when they have the time, the focus, the mental acuity to be able to actually watch it on their own terms, right? Consume it. They can binge it or they can watch one at a time. That's up to them. And we have to be able to provide them for it. So basically, this is what I want you to think about now is when you think of the term webinar, what do you think about? You think about attending something. It's educationally focused. The idea is that it's something you're going to learn something from. You're going to walk away from it with some additional piece of knowledge or potentially even some kind of actionable items that you can go out and implement. When you think about a meeting, it's more where you're sharing ideas, where you're interacting, where it's a conversation, whereas a webinar is really the speaker to the audience. There may be some interaction, some Q&A, but it's primarily people are there to listen to the speaker. Meetings, people are there to discuss things. A lot of times we want more meeting-like aspects of our webinars. We don't want to sit and lecture for an hour straight, so we use breakout rooms or we have extra speakers that come on. We do things to make it more meeting-like. We do a lot of interviewing or having 2 speakers at once or doing things to make it more engaging and interacting. So even in webinars, we're using things that we would normally do in meetings. And then when you think about if you're live streaming this, especially if you're using YouTube Live or Facebook Live, and you're trying to just get content out there in real time, the goal there is that you're doing something right in the here and now that you want people to be part of. The webinar is to educate. The meeting is to communicate, and the live stream is basically really more for you to be able to involve, right? So you're involving people in what you're doing versus you're trying to educate them or trying to communicate with them in a group setting. So that's really the first thing to think about. And then when you really start thinking about how to do webinars, we've all attended many of them. A lot of us have put them on. Webinars are skills, they're education. They could be any combination of speakers. There could be one, there could be multiple. They could be sharing the screen. They could be going one at a time. There's really no right or wrong way to do this, but the whole point of the webinar is to impart knowledge. Webinars work well with large groups where you have big audiences, where people can just consume the content as the webinar is going. And most webinars are recorded and shared after the fact. So you want to think about that for you. Are you going to do the webinar to get it done? And then are you going to make it available? And are you expecting to get most of your value from your audience? Are you trying to get them to buy something or sign up for something? Or is there some kind of call to action that you want from them in real time? If that's the case, then you want to make sure you're cognizant of that if you do record it or do share it, things may get dated. You also want to make sure that when you're doing webinars that you have an agenda, you have a plan, you have it laid out so that there's a flow to it. You don't want it just to kind of go like a meeting where people can kind of like come back and forth and share. And even though a meeting may have an agenda, often, as we all know, meetings don't always follow the agenda because conversations, when people are putting their opinion in or sharing information or doing things in an interactive setting, it can kind of go sideways on you, where webinars should pretty much always stick to a set agenda. When you think about a subset of webinars where we have conferences, and the difference there really technically is that a webinar is usually about an hour long or so. It's usually one topic, and it's usually one speaker or a couple speakers that are speaking to that topic. A conference is where it could be multiple days, at least one day. Definitely, it should be a half day at the minimum as a conference, and it's multiple speakers on multiple topics. You could have a theme, but of course, you're going to try to have speakers all work within that theme. So, for example, when I think about some of the conferences I'm involved in, small business conferences, they're themes, right? We're trying to help small businesses grow, and we're offering all kinds of hacks into how you can use online technology to be able to grow your business virtually. That's really what the conference is all about. So if you want to put on a conference, it's a lot of work. Even just a webinar is a lot of work. There are a lot of things you have to do before the event, during the event, and after the event. I've recorded other videos, you can check these out, that show you some of the things that you should do pre, during, and post live stream or event. I dropped a lot of videos about live streaming tips. So if you are live streaming, think about the things for yourself and for your speakers, what they should have as far as background and lighting, and what their style should be, and how they want to be able to deliver content that people can consume. All this stuff has to be kept in mind as well. So you want to think about that when you're doing a conference or webinar. If you're doing a meeting, it's basically, you're using a tool like Zoom or Skype or any of the other go-to meeting. There's so many out there. A lot of us are recording these meetings. And we're recording these meetings that allows us to basically take notes in a sense. And we're also using some of these meetings as content that we can then repurpose. So if you're having a meeting with a bunch of peers talking about how you can all work together to build a conference, do it behind the scenes. That could actually add value. And think about what works in your meetings. How are they interactive? Can you do real-time polling? Are you doing things where people can contribute, share a screen, do things where you can check out documents together, do screen recordings of what other people are doing so you can capture that? There's a lot of things that can happen in a meeting that can then be repurposed in other ways. So meetings don't have to just be a Zoom meeting where you get together, go through an agenda, talk about the business for an hour, and then be done. There's a lot more to meetings when it comes to using them in a streaming sense. And then the last really is live streaming. And I talk about this a lot, right? There are some great platforms for live streaming. You can use Facebook Live, you can use Twitch, you can use YouTube, you can use Zoom, you can use Vimeo. Basically, live streams offer an experience, right? You're trying to bring people into what you are experiencing in the here and now. That's the point of live stream. So we can live stream conferences, and we can live stream webinars, and we can live stream meetings, but it's because we want people to be able to be part of what we're doing. But a live stream itself, just basically you're trying to take your life and streaming it out there for people to see, right? So it's very speaker focused, it's very in the moment, and you are looking for audience participation. So when you live stream is super important, and how you go about setting up your stream, what you do beforehand is super important to optimize your ability to get audience interaction. So live streaming is basically where you're just trying to share things that get people excited, and you can give them simple calls to action. And you can record your live stream, and you can repurpose the live stream and share it as a webinar or topics at a seminar. Or you can do things. Basically, all this stuff is interchangeable as long as you know what you're trying to do with it. So when you think about how to live stream, there's things like Zoom and Skype and House Party and StreamYard. There's always more coming out. So just kind of keep up to date on what's going on with the live stream, and think about what you want to accomplish if you're live streaming. Are you just trying to share? Are you trying to actually gather data? Do you want to capture information about your attendees or about your viewers, or anything you're doing? You want to make sure you're getting the right value so you have ROI. For the highest level of interaction, you want to make sure that you're pre-planning how to get people to be engaged and involved. Whether you're live streaming or doing a meeting or doing a seminar, you want to make sure that it's not just you talking to the camera the whole time. You're asking questions, you're engaging, you're getting feedback. In any medium, you want to make sure you're doing that to some extent. Those are the ones that work. When it's just me talking to the camera, people aren't going to pay attention. But when it's me talking to the camera about something that's important to them and gives them the ability to interact, they're going to pay attention. Now, it's good to have videos like this, like I'm doing now, as a library of content that people can consume when they want, like Netflix. But if you're going to live stream and do a live meeting or a live webinar, you want to think more about what people are going to get out of it here and now. So that's what we do at Sonic VA. We help businesses, we help entrepreneurs, we help people like you figure out what's the best way to get my message out. How do I really get my audience to do what I need them to do? To sign up for something, to buy something, to join something. We do that by helping you build a strategy around the best way to reach your audience. And then we help you in the pre-interaction, during the actual meeting, seminar, live stream, and then post. We do that by having a virtual assistant assigned to you to help you get all that done. This is just one of the many things that we do at Sonic VA, but you can check out our website, sonicva.com. You can send us a message saying, hey, I want to do a live stream and I need help. Or I want to be more successful with my webinars. I'm doing webinars and I'm not getting any value for it. People aren't showing up. There's no engagement. I'm not getting any ROI or return on my investment. I need help. Go to sonicva.com, send us a message, say you're really interested in having us help you do your webinar or your meeting or your live stream. Or you can actually drop comments below if you want. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And basically what we want you to do is think about what we can do as a team of virtual assistants to help you broaden your message and free you up from doing all the things that you need to do before and after you actually talk into the camera to make your overall experience something that will have a value to your business. So I want to thank you for your time. Now go out there and stream away.